Good morning, and basically thank you for being here. I'm very pleased to present our paper titled Social Aware Self-Organizing Networks for Aging Well, a distributed model for human-centric sport. This work is actually a result of a collaboration between me and my colleague Vittorianna Perrotta. The focus of this paper is the intersection of technology, social interacting, and care for aging population. We proposed a model that we call Social Aware Self-Organizing Network, or TASON. Over the next 30 minutes, I will walk through the motivation for this work, its conceptual fundamentals, the prospect architecture, and also the challenges. If we go to the next slide, we can see the motivation for this work is rooted in a pressing global trend. The rapid aging for our population, according to the World Health Organization, the proportion of people aged 60 years and older will double by 2050. This demographic transformation brings unprecedented challenges to healthcare systems, welfare infrastructure, and to the everyday life for families and communities. Basically, while physical and clinical care needs are widely recognized, one dimension is often underestimated: the psychosocial well-being. Basically, older adults are not only affected by frailty or chronic disease, but also by loneliness, cognitive decline, and reduced opportunities for meaningful interaction. This condition can deteriorate quality of life as much as physical illnesses, and yet they are harder to address with traditional models of care. Traditional care systems remain indispensable anyway, but they tend to be centralized and rigid. They prioritize medical treatment, of course, often at the expense of relational needs. They are also reduced insensitive and difficult to adapt to higher individual and emotional nature of human well-being. So our central question we asked ourselves was, can we design systems that are flexible, adaptive, and also socially embedded? Systems that do not replace human concept but actually foster it. This question led us to explore the possibility of a distributed socially aware network of aging well. The objective of this paper is to introduce and conceptualize social aware self-organization network, TASON. The idea is to leverage distributed computing and human-centric design in order to build a model that supports psychological well-being, especially for older adults, enable the decentralized adaptive coordination of care, and connect human actors, smart devices, and physical environment into a dynamic ecosystem. What makes it different from traditional approaches is to shift from service delivery to relational orchestration. Instead just of thinking of care as something delivered top-down by institution, we envision it as something to co-create moment by moment through meaningful connection, facilitated but actually not replacing by technology. The key concept, now if you go to the next one, yes, thank you. So the key concept is to get there. Let us clarify some key concepts. So the first one is, as we were talking about, self-organizing network, the SONs. They are networks that configure and adapt themselves without central control. SONs were first delivered in the field of wireless communication and are used in contexts where resilience, scalability, and autonomy are basically crucial. The second one is a social awareness. Here, the focus is on embedding social values such as trust, emotional states, and preference into technological systems. Instead of treating all nodes as identical, the system becomes aware of who is interacting, in what context, and with what history. Now, when we combine these two ideas, we get SATON, social aware self-organizing network. This network integrates human nodes, smart devices, and physical spaces. The goal is not simply to transmit data efficiently, but to orchestrate social interaction in ways that are contextual, trusted-based, and emotionally meaningful. The core idea is that care should not be reduced to clinical efficiency. It should emerge from relationship dynamically and autonomously. If we go to the background, yes, this proposed builds on three basic strands of existing research. So the first one is the self-organizing network, originally applied to mobile and sensor network. They demonstrated the ability to adapt without human intervention. Their strength lies in autonomous and resilient, yet they largely ignore human and social dimension, focusing instead of technical optimization. The second one is ambient-assisted living. This field has developed many technologies for aging, food detection systems, remote monitoring, and robotic companions. These solutions can be valuable, but often face challenges. They are expensive, limiting, and risk increasing isolation by replacing human cognition with machine. The third one is the human-centric computing. This paradigm shifts the focus from efficiency to values such as trust, empowerment, and co-adoption. It emphasizes technologies that respect agency and support active participation. Taken all together, these trends show both progress and limits. What has been missing is a framework that integrates self-organization with social awareness. The research gap is said is um, can be summarized basically on one side, sons are powerful in terms of technological performance, but they are socially blind. The three nodes as basically they ignore them and ignore their preference or emotion. On the other side is that social-oriented platforms such as volunteer networks or other time banks do recognize social dynamics, but they are usually centralized. They depend on manual coordination and institutional structures. So basically, what is missing is a system that is both decentralized and socially aware. That is where Sassons come in. They embedded human actors directly into decentralized coordination, enabling networks that respond not only to technological signals, but also to social cues. So the Sasson architecture, let me explain a little bit more this. So
Yes.
it is built around three types of nodes. The human node, they are older adults, as we were talking about, and they are seeking interaction, volunteering, offering companionship, family member maintaining contact, and professional providing oversight. Human nodes are very complex because they carry, of course, emotion, trust, and histories of interaction. So they are basically seen as human beings, really. But this complexity is what makes the network socially rich as well. Then the second node is a smart node. They are technological elements, so like smart mobile phone, IoT sensor, digital assistant, and they sense context, um, process information locally, and act as mediation between people. The third node is the environmental node. These are physiological locations like café, parks, and community centers that provide safe space for encounters. The interplay between these nodes creates a dynamical infrastructure. For example, a smart device may detect that an older adult is showing signs of isolation. All at the same time, a nearby volunteer marks availability. The system proposes a meeting in a cafe or a park, for example, making the interaction safe and contextual and socially meaningful, of course.
The core of SaaS lies in its decentralized decision-making logic. Unlike traditional systems with a central controller, each node operates independently, making decisions based on local rules, proximity, availability, urgency, and personal preference. This is inspired by natural systems such as worms or ant colonies, where complex patterns emerge from simple local interactions. A key element here is the relation matching algorithm. Matches are not just based on efficiency, they are based on trust, emotional continuity, and preferences. For example, if an elderly person feels lonely, the system will not automatically connect them with the nearest volunteer. Instead, it may suggest someone with whom they already had a positive experience, ensuring that interaction is both feasible and meaningful. About the advantage of innovation, these models introduce several innovations. It keeps human in the loop. The system facilitates but does not automatically away human presence. Then it prioritizes social data. Trust levels, preference, and emotional history shape the interaction. It follows a privacy by design principle. Data is processed locally, shared minimally, and always under user control. It requires only lightweight infrastructure, basic smart devices, and minimal networking, which make it scalable even under-resourced communities. Finally, it allows hybrid integration with NGOs and municipalities or health services without requiring a complete overhaul. The key innovation is the shift from device to device communication to human-centered coordination. About challenges and design consideration, of course, building such a system is not without challenges. Trust, first of all, trust is central. Older adults must feel safe and respect, and volunteers must trust that the interaction are appropriate. Privacy and consent are equally crucial. Context awareness cannot come at the expense of autonomy, and monitoring must be local and transparent. Human availability adds unpredictability. So many people withdraw due for example, may withdraw due the fatigue or personal reason. The system must adapt gracefully. And then scalability is another issue. Um, the more social the system becomes, the harder it is to predict behavior, and the robustness must mean not perfection but the ability to degrade gracefully. Finally, there is cultural sensitivity is essential. Social norms differ widely. That what feels supporting in one context may feel intrusive in another. So SaaS homes must be designed not only to be technically smart but also socially and culturally wise. So let's go for use case scenario. To illustrate, let us consider a hypothetical pilot in a suburban community in Southern Europe. So, this community has many older adults living alone with limited access to formal care. A local civic association mobilized volunteers, but coordination is a burdensome. With sessions and all the older adults and volunteers joined by a simple hub. Public space like parks or cafes are equipped as environment nodes. For example, Mr. Leone, an 82 years old, often feels lonely. His smart assistant detects reduced activity. At the same time, Sarah, an university student, marks herself as available for a walk. The system matches them and proposes a safe meeting in a local cafe. Over time, the system learns from feedback. It strengthens trust relationship, adapts frequency or proposal, and prioritizes safety during events like heat waves. After 3 months, the community observes increased well-being, reduced coordination effort, and stronger intergenerational bonds. This scenario shows how SASON can be implemented with minimal infrastructure but higher relational impact. This brings us to a broader discussion. First of all, strengths. SaaS are adaptive, decentralized, lightweight, and privacy-preserving. They enable human-centric responsiveness that is missing from traditional systems. Second, limitation. Human availability may undermine the system if too many withdraw. However, reliance on information care might reduce institutional responsibility. Technological infrastructure may be lacking in some contexts. Finally, the system needs legitimacy. People must trust, if not just a tool, must trust it, if not just a tool, but as a facilitator of care. The balance between these strengths and limitations shows that Sansons are promising, but their adoption requires careful design, governance, and participation. The implication goes beyond technology. Sassons propose an hybrid model of care where responsibility is distributed between institutions and communities. Care becomes a relational infrastructure and not just a service. And this resonates with broader movements such as platform cooperativism and care commons, where communities co-own and co-govern infrastructures. But these ideas raise fundamental questions such as who governs the system? How do we ensure inclusiveness and prevent bias? How do we sustain participation long term? In short, Sassons open a conversation not only about technology but about the future of solidarity and social infrastructure in aging society. To conclude, Sassons represent a distributed human-centric model for supporting psychological well-being. They shift from the logic of care from top-down service delivery to relation orchestration, creating adaptive and emotionally intelligent networks. They are promising because they are lightweight, privacy conscious, and adaptable to diverse contexts. Yet they face challenge of trust, variability, scalability, and cultural sensitivity. Future work includes developing prototypes and testing pilots and co-design with communities to ensure ethical adoption. Evaluating of long-term impact will be also crucial. And the key message that I want to leave with you is this: care is not only something delivered, it is something co-created moment by moment through networks of mutual presence. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward your question, and we look forward your question and your reflection. Thank you.